Well. Welcome to another Financial Friday.
Oh yeah. Oh
Welcome
yeah.
to another Financial Friday. I am your host, Dr. ADB, and this is my co-host, Brother Minister James Jones. How you doing, Minister Jones?
I'm doing good, Pastor. I'm doing good. I'm glad we on. I'm glad
Oh,
we on.
glad you on.
Yeah.
So, so how's it been going? You've been driving back and forth to Indiana. You got a contract or something in Indiana that you drive back and forth to. Did you do
Yeah.
that this morning?
Yeah.
Wow. So every morning you get up at what time?
Like 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock in the morning. Wow. And so you a real grinder, huh?
Uh, I wouldn't give people advice that I don't do myself.
All right. That's good. You chew to it. You
I'll be
chew
trying to tell
to it.
people like whenever somebody asks me, well, what it look like, I'm like, well, I can tell you what I'm doing, but I grind and I know what a
Okay.
grind is. So I'm always looking out for those who want to follow in the footsteps. So yeah.
Well, that's good, and a lot of times people don't realize what it takes to do things. People they they'll see they're outside looking in, and they'll see whatever progress you may be making or whatever things might be manifested in your life. And a lot of times because they don't see you, they just see you when you pull up in the car, or they just see you, in that manifested state.
Yeah.
They don't realize, that you know what goes into being able to live the way that you live, you know.
Yeah.
And so you say you have to get up at what time?
Between 2 and 3, I'm already up. Ate breakfast, about to leave the house between 2 and 3 o'clock.
Wow. So you up at 1 or something then, huh?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then how long of a drive is it?
3 hours there, 3 hours back.
Wow. And so see, a lot of times people, they look at, what you're able to do, you know, when it comes to the resources that you have, or the resources that you have access to, but they don't realize what it takes, to be able to produce those things. And that's a true grind right there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It is
yeah,
it's definitely a grind.
yeah. And then on top of that, you have your properties, right? Your business. And then
Yeah.
how many different businesses do you have?
Currently I'm up to 5 right now.
So you have five different businesses,
Yeah.
and then you have a regular job that you go
Regular
to,
job. Regular job like everybody else.
and then you have some children and a wife, and then you have your own house where you have to take care of, and then you at church, and then you're volunteering your time outside of Sunday morning to help accomplish certain things. And I'm saying all that because a lot of times people sell themselves short, and they get so focused on, um, this is, I got to get this done, or this is my life right here. And a lot of times they don't, they feel like they don't have time to help out at the church, or they don't have time to be
Oh,
present in their families, or they don't have time because you also participate in men's fellowship. And so
yeah.
there are sometimes you all go have outings and things like that, that you participate in. And so I'm just trying to help people to see that, is really not about having a whole lot of things to do as much as it is being able to have some type of system in the way that you do them, you know. So do you feel like you're overwhelmed?
No, not me.
Okay, so and you will contribute that probably to having some type of system, right?
Yeah.
Some type of way to keep you on track, whether it be a calendar, or whatever it's a system. You have a system that you're working, and as a result of that, it takes the overwhelmness out of it. And do you ever look at yourself and say, how in the world am I getting so much done? Or it
Uh,
becomes so habitual that you just roll with it?
well, in the beginning, and that's why I always tell people small steps. So at first, I think I had like a 10-hour day, and then I had kids. So then it was like 10 hours of work, and then I had kids, and then it was like it moved from 10 hours to 12 hours and kids, and then it moved into what are you doing? Well, now I got a church, and then I was helping out the church, and I was doing about 10 to 12 hours, and then we had mandatory overtime season, then we had kids. So all of that stuff, what I want to say is that I understood what I wanted to do with my life, and I just had to assign time for it. We have a lot of wasted time. Like I can probably binge watch a whole episode, or I forgot what they call it, seasons, right? Seasons of TV shows. And literally, I worked with a guy who binge watched TV shows, and I thought it was hilarious. I mean, at the time, I was like, it was hilarious, and he thought what I was doing was hilarious. And then as I got more honed in on communicating, even though my communication may not be the best, it is still communicating. Hey, I'm doing this, doing this, doing this, doing this. I got this going on. I got this going on. And then the process of always planning, the process of just planning and planning and planning. So most of my day is planned for me almost a week to 2 weeks out. I'm already planning for the next day.
Okay.
So when I get to my day pretty, it sounds funny, but about 18 hours of my day is already planned out. And then I do have room for like things that I didn't plan out or things that may happen, because you can't plan out a full 24 hours because life happens.
Yeah.
But you want to give yourself opportunities to be able to help out, and opportunities to be able to go places, and opportunities because you don't know what tomorrow may bring. And your kids may say, hey, I need something from school. So you got to be able to be flexible and still be able to put things in. Another big thing that I've been doing is prioritizing. And I'm really big on everything I'm telling everybody. Everything I've told everybody else to do, and all the guidance I gave to other people, is not because I read a book and I was like, oh, that's a good idea, right? And I'm just shooting out a bunch of information, or I Googled it. It's because I do this. And prior to me having this one, I think I drove another hour and a half. Now I'm driving 3 hours. It's just, how do you effectively become in all these places? And so I do use technology, and I am an entrepreneurship. I have tons of learning courses that I take on top of trying to manage everything else I'm doing, and everything is assignment. So before I go to sleep tonight, I'm going to assign my Saturday, which is supposed to be like a free day. And then when I get done, I'm going to assign my Sunday. And I was told Sunday is a rest day. Yeah, it's a rest day, but it's not a stopping day. It's a rest day. It don't mean we stop. It just means we rest on that day, and everything is just assigned. And being able to communicate that is the biggest thing. And I think now I'm taking on mentorees. So that's more assignments. It's like, well, who do I talk to today? How do I communicate to them? Am I even communicating? Am I being effective? Those things all are being planned out so we can keep everything moving.
Yeah, and that's good to hear, because a lot of times people they'll quit too soon, or they'll sell themselves short, and not realize that you have the wherewithal to get where you want to be in life. You have the wherewithal to produce the things that you want in life. You have the wherewithal to be able to accomplish the goals that you have in life. You are fully equipped. However, you have to understand that it's not, this one and done type of thing. That this is a lifestyle. This is a lifestyle, and being able to consistently, grind it out. And when you organize, to whatever degree it is, it helps you to be able to handle the challenges that you have. But I think for many people, they want the benefits of without doing the work. One of the things that you might like, was for me, growing up, when I got out of high school, I wanted to join the military,
Yes.
you know, and I wanted to join the military because my friends that had joined the military and got out, they were so disciplined, you
Yeah.
know, and I really admired that. I really wanted that discipline, you know. I mean, they start to finish, you know, they hone in on something and start to finish. They knocking them things out,
Yeah.
and I didn't have that discipline, and so I would be able to get distracted, and get off course, you know.
Mhm.
Um, but I wanted the discipline, but I didn't want to go to the service, you know. The other part of the service that kept me not wanting to go was there was other friends that came home that they had been in combat,
Yeah.
and they were not the same. And then, you know, I had a couple of friends um, that ended up committing suicide, you know, after they got back, and you know, after a short period of being back. And so I had those two things. You know, I wanted the discipline, but I wouldn't enlist, you know. And I'm saying that as an example that sometimes we allow, you know, some bad apples or some bad experiences to keep us from doing the very thing that we need in order to produce what it is that we desire. You know, for me in that incident, it was discipline. And so, not that that's the only way that you can get it, but I just admire military people, because most of the military people that I do know are very disciplined. And I'm saying, you want a Mercedes, or you want a new house, or you want a certain name brand suit, or you want this expensive vacation, or you know, you want to send your children to private school, or you know, on and on and on. You have the desires for these things, but you got to understand, you got to be willing to put in the work as well.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. That's one of my biggest things that's some of my avoidance of people, because oftentimes when somebody see me, and I do teach this a lot, we are all icebergs. All grinders are icebergs. All grinders. If you call yourself a grinder, the majority of things you do would never be seen by anybody. They'll never be seen. Some people may get a glimpse of what you're doing, but they'll never truly know like how much time you put in to your craft, or to getting out of debt, or to increasing your funds. All they see is when you pop up and, okay, cool. Now I got, okay, this dude just bought a new car. Yep. Okay, this dude just bought another new car. Yeah, I did that. Yeah. He bought a motorcycle. Yeah. And then they talking to me. And when I tell somebody, no, I'm trying to buy a bank. Yeah, no, I'm trying to buy a plane now. No, I'm gonna buy a plane by accident when I get the bank, right? Now people are starting to see that, okay, I don't think he's on the same level we're on financially.
Hmm.
And I think, or he's not on the same level that we're on spiritually. Or they'd be like, I don't think you're thinking the way we're thinking. And the answer is yes, I'm not. But
Hmm.
all grinders think like that, because we may go to the same job, we may do the same work, but then when we leave work, the grinder's gonna go home, and if they like the job, or if that's the craft, they're going back home, and as they spend time with their kids, as they pet their puppies and pets, and they feeding everybody,
Hmm.
they're thinking about how to improve on what I'm already doing.
Okay.
How do I make that better? How do I get more productivity out of the same thing we're doing? So now y'all back at work, and you may not see it at first, because grinders grind. You may not see it, and then all of a sudden, little by little, then you start seeing, okay, this dude's bringing in 150, 60 more units than me. How is he bringing in these more units?
Hmm.
And we doing the same work, but somehow he just doing a little bit more than me. He doing a little bit more. We doing the same hours, but he producing better. It's because when he go back home, or I say when some people go back home, they watching TV.
Right.
They
Right.
play with the animals and they go to bed. The
Hmm.
grinder is like, how do I become more efficient, more effective at what I want?
Okay.
And also what the grinder may be doing is the grinder may be like, this is a job to feed my family. But this is the idea that I need to have for my future. So they're doing the same work as everybody else, but yet they have a mindset to like, okay, we gonna live this is going to be our budget, and we're going to live within this budget because this is going towards this investment. And then once this investment pull out, then we'll have an extra $200-300 a month. When this investment pull out again, now we up to $600 a month. So now while they're still working the same job, the next year comes and now it appears, and everything says appears because no one knows what happened. They just appearing like, dude, we both had a crisis, and you was like, I got that, right? And now you taking care of your crisis, and you good to go. They're allowing their crisis to hinder their money.
Yeah.
And I have seen that done numerous of times where somebody, it'd be something small. It's like, if we delivering or we got to deliver stuff, my tires on my car mean something. The brakes mean something. Why? Because it's part of the delivery process. So I'm going to save up to make sure the brakes are good. I'm saving up to make sure that the tires are good. So when the tires do break or I'm already got it in the shop.
Right.
I'm paying that extra money to get it in the shop, get the tires fixed, and boom, I'm back on the road to make that money again. Whereas a guy who is trying to keep up with the Joneses, no pun intended, they're up there looking at it, right? They look like, okay, I can do what he do, but you're not assigning your money. So now when you catch a flat tire, now you're trying to figure out how to do it. And now you miss a day, and now you miss 2 days, and now you finally get back in it, but it took you some time.
Right.
Whereas I was already predicting this to happen. I remember I sat down with my cousins and I was telling them, not my cousins, it was my brothers and some of my nephews. And I said, we don't stop money flow. Money flow is money flow. You don't stop your money flow. And they was like, what do you mean? I'm like, I learned this from a drug dealer. Like, unfortunately, people from many walks of life do different things based on their environment. But we can always learn something. A grinder can learn something from a guy who's doing something illegally. But he was one of the people that taught me you never mess up your money. And even though his lifestyle was more exotic than mine, I still understood what he was talking about.
Yeah.
If I'm a wood crafter, right, and I craft pieces of wood, I don't allow my tool to break and not get a new tool or not have another tool available. I'm gonna be a woodworker. I'm gonna have the tools available for woodworking. If I'm a plumber, I'm gonna know everything there is to know about plumbing, and I'm gonna have supplies. So I'm not living. I need you to pay for the stuff first before I can get the stuff and do it. No, I need you to send that money over because I already got the supplies. We already working this out. I'm already doing everything you need me to do because I got it already. And in that way, you're not behind on your money. Your money is coming in while you already making money.
Well, see, that's why it's so important when we talk about those percentages. When you talk about don't live on 100% of your income, and like the Bible talks about, don't eat your seed, and a lot of times because we're spending everything that comes in, then we know one day we're going to have some tires, but we're spending everything that come in. Yeah. And then when that happens, it's a crisis when it don't have to be. We know we're going to need some breaks, but when we're spending everything that's coming in, when that happens, then it's a crisis, and we're going down the line like that. And that's why it's important to try to get that income, that overall spending. How would I say that?
The living expense.
That overall living expense. That's why it's important to get that down and not be up in the high percentile, because life be lifing, and things can happen, and so if you don't begin to get to a place where you can assign your money, in some cases it's just as simple as being able to have $1,000 sitting in the bank and not be tempted to use it for something else.
Yes.
And that's a mindset change that has to happen. You know what I mean? But when you're a true grinder, you got more things, you got more irons in the fire than just one thing. Yeah. And so you're able to create some type of cash flow, a little bit here, a little bit there, to the degree that now you can make up the difference. But when you go to work and then go home and watch TV and pet the dog and go to sleep, you know, you don't have nothing but whatever you went to work for.
Yeah.
And in most cases, if you're living at a high living expense, then most of that money that you're making is gone towards your living expense.
Mm.
And so instead of, you know, somebody told me years ago that when you watch TV, you have to decide um, what, you know, what side of the glass that you want to be on. Because the guy, the people that you're watching, they getting paid.
Yes.
You know, they getting paid to be on there, and you're watching, but you ain't getting paid. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so you have to decide what side you want to be on.
Yeah.
And I work hard, and I accomplish a lot of things, and it depends on what my body is saying. I might sit down and and maybe binge for, you know, however long. But a lot of times, once I get down in my grinding spot where I am right now,
Mm.
you know, I'll be cranking out, you know, books and, you know, plans for the church and layout and things of that sort. But the point that I'm making is that a lot of times people think because they're so got so many things going that they don't have time to do other things. And I just wanted um, to show, because you just came off an anniversary vacation too with your wife.
Yeah.
You know? And so I'm saying that even though you have all of these different things, you're not overwhelmed by them, and you're able to get them done because you have a system.
Yeah.
I'm saying for us, the things that we've been teaching has been really trying to help people to see how important it is to create these systems, that you stop just operating day in and day out the same way and start being more purpose and more intentional as the things that you're doing, you know. And
I
then
think
I
that's
get deep.
no. I mean, sometimes you got to get deep so people at least understand. Because I'm a planner, and then I do a lot of planning. When I say a lot of planning,
Hmm.
I do so much planning that I'm planning out 5 to 10 years from now, and I haven't even got there yet. And then I'm making adjustments on year three, and then everything is backtracked because I want to achieve something.
Hmm.
And if people know who I am, they are. If people have talked to me, they know what I'm trying to achieve. So
Okay.
the biggest thing is, if you want to achieve something that's in the future, you got to plan to get there. We can't just aimlessly say to ourselves, "Well, we'll get there eventually." Not, yep, and you could die too. But or we can plan it out and then let everybody who's critically involved know what the plan is. So
Yeah.
if I go down, my wife knows what the plan is. My contractors knows what the plan is. My associates know what the plan is. So no one is missing the mark. Now, how they execute may be different because it's me versus someone else,
Hmm.
but everybody knows what the marks I'm trying to hit, or the marks that I planned out to hit. So everybody could be like, okay, cool. We know how many properties we supposed to have. We know what we supposed to do. We know how he was changing this. So even if I'm not there, somebody could be like, well, I want to do it this way. I want to do it this way. Well, the ultimate goals are still planned out.
Hmm.
And that's the biggest thing, is that when you start looking towards the future, I want my kids to be in a position that if they choose or have chosen not to go to college, how does that look? Well, you got to plan that out. That's just not magical. Your
Right.
kids go to college, you got to get scholarships, but you got to plan that out. That's not magical. They don't just fall in your lap. You got to plan to get scholarships. You
Hmm.
got to plan to pay for college. You got to plan. Now, I would like to have all of my kids and my godchildren, because everybody included as my kids. So to include all of my kids, right? I would like all of them to be able to go to college and not be worried about being in debt for going to college. If
Hmm.
they choose to, or if they choose a trade school, I want them to go to the trade school without being in debt for going to the trade schools. I think those are things that I can accomplish, but I'm not waiting to the year she start college or the year that he start college. So
Right.
be like, ooh, now's a good time to start planning. No. While they was, I think I started back when they was like 5. I started planning for each of their colleges, and when they was 1, I started planning that they was gonna live until they're 18. Like why? Because you got kids, might as well plan for them to live. Like,
Right.
if I got you, I might as well plan for you to live.
Yeah.
And then those are just things that I was like, okay, cool. My kids will outlive me. So how does that look when I pass and go to heaven? Well, it may look something like this. So you plan that out. And it's not, and it don't have to be all elaborate, because mine's may be elaborate. It may not be elaborate. It depends on who I'm talking to. But there's a plan. And that plan is already set. Okay, cool. This is how I want it to be, and it's done.
Mm-hmm.
Now my wife don't have to worry about it. My kids don't have to worry about it. All of my family, the extended family to include, no one has to worry about how that looks. Oh, cool. He wrote it down and it's already paid for.
Yeah.
Good. That's one thing I don't have to worry about, and the people behind me don't have to worry about. And I think it's these things, but it also increases your value, because now when people ask questions, no, that's done. How about your kids? No, that's done.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, so what do you think about buying a new car? Well, that's already done. We got a plan for that, right? And then people can start listening to you, because they can't see it until it happens. So they can listen to you and be like, okay, he was talking about putting a new roof on this property 2 years ago. He said he was going to put a new roof on it 2 years ago. He said he'll do it in 2 years. Guess what? 2 years went past. Boom, you got a brand new roof. And then that also increases your word of mouth towards, if you talk about your tenants, but now they're more invested in what you're doing, because they can see that your vision or your plan is coming to fruition. But that's also good for your family, your friends, once they can see what you got going on.
Mm-hmm.
First, they hear it first. And I don't be a Joseph. Don't just say it to random people who hate your guts. Say it to people who love you and can sometimes support you, and sometimes they can't. I'm gonna be honest with you. Sometimes all they know is my brother is a dreamer.
Mm-hmm.
They not knocking me. They just be like, this brother is dreaming.
Right.
He dreaming. Mm-hmm. And then you start making your dreams come true. And then you start going places, and you start doing stuff, and then you start eating the food you want to eat. And then you stop becoming a dreamer.
Okay.
You start becoming a dreamer. You start becoming a producer. And that's how people see you. People are like, no. He was talking crazy when he was young, but I can see what he got now. I can see some of the stuff that he's producing. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things that happens when you start cutting unnecessary expenses and you start putting yourself in line with. You start networking effectively.
Yeah.
I think I was telling this story to the brother Mark in a group of investors. Now, it was funny, but it was a group of investors, and they said, "Oh yeah, that's that one. Yeah. No, he the Christian dude, right?" And they meant that as a I wouldn't say it's bad, but that was a designator for what they gave me without them knowing that I heard them say that. Like, no, that's that Christian dude over there. But I'm okay with that. Like that didn't even hurt my feelings. It's when they was introducing me to somebody who was in earshot. They're like, no, that's a Christian dude. And I was telling them, like, that was good for me.
Sure.
Because I know when they bring me in on deals and I'm listening to the deals, they don't have to worry about me trying to steal the deal underneath them. They don't worry about me trying to backhand or take more than what my fair share is. Yeah. I'm typically taking the lower amount. So I'm typically taking the lower amount, which is allowing me to maintain good relationships.
Okay. I don't know what you see that I don't see.
I think it's time for us to transition into what we're talking about for tonight.
Why you think that? Why you think that?
I don't know. I got this thing. We were about to hit the 30-minute mark, and I just want to make sure that we are we're progressing swimmingly into the right direction.
We are progressing, because the thing is to be able to help people to understand what it takes to be able to go, and I think a lot of times, because people shy away from, taking on. I believe one of the biggest challenges, and I said this at church lately, looking at people, they have the knowledge, they can regurgitate the knowledge to you, but they don't necessarily have the boldness and courage to step out and do it. And when we talked about the whole idea of little steps or small adjustments, being able to really understand how key that is. There was a quote by Robert Collier. He said something similar to that effect. He said, "Success is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out." And so getting that regiment, people need to understand that, you can take on more, but you just have to be intentional about it. Because at the end, we don't want to just be on the show, just chopping it up. We want to see the progress in people's lives. And right now, we do know people are getting the information and they're becoming smarter, but we're not necessarily hearing about the debt free part, or people actually beginning to get in the groove of it where it beginning to produce for them. And if you're not careful, you'll come on week after week and get the information, but you are going home watching TV. You are going home and petting the dogs. And this was very valuable tonight to understand that here we are on here, but they may look at you just as a regular guy, but you got a lot of things going on, and getting up at 1 o'clock and driving at 2 o'clock and 3 hours one way and 3 hours back, and still having five other responsibilities in the family and a wife and a church, but not being stressed out. People need to understand that, because I think that because they're not engaged at the next level, they're not able to see next level return. You understand what I mean?
I understand, but
You
but
can't,
but I think
you can't stay mediocre. You just can't keep getting the information and just getting smarter with the information without taking that risk, and it's not really a risk, but it is a risk to a certain extent. But being able to believe in yourself enough to put yourself out there, as Jesus told the disciples, he said, "Get in the boat and push away from the shore." The shore could represent uh, security, it could represent safety, you know, and it can represent, things, stability, but you have to be willing to lead that empty life, that life does not give you everything that you desire, to the degree where you are, you're having, you're depressed, or you're having these challenges and you can't keep up with your bills and you just going through, but then you watching TV all day, and then petting the dog. I need them to see that what grinding looks like, you know.
oh,
And so this um, has been just as valuable as what we're teaching, because if you don't apply it, you're not going to get the results. If you don't apply it, you're not going to get the results. And a lot of times people want to hear, even from the preaching standpoint over the years, pastoring, when the whole prosperity message began to be more regular, or more, because it's always been there. You know,
yeah.
when you say God's gonna give you a big house, they shout and they run, woo, they run around, they just excited. But then when you tell them how to get it, then they just be looking at you like, but that's just as much as valuable as the next. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And a lot of times, one of the things that I'm seeing is that people are praying too hard. They're praying hard for things that's already been released. You know what I mean? Or
I
even
believe,
even
yeah.
this attitude of, well, if the Lord will, well, okay, okay, I hear what you're saying, but we do know that the Lord is willing, right?
Yes.
And so then we don't have to hope for it. You know, we
Yeah.
just need to step out there because he'll meet us out there. You know, but it's not going to be. You're not going to be able to sit back and just get smarter with information without the willingness to push away from the shore. And
Yeah.
I'll drop the mic on that. Since you so hurry to get to your lesson, you
I
know,
want to make sure. Well,
you
okay.
know,
Just so people, just so everyone understands, when the Bible talks about getting the needs right, it now correct me if I'm wrong, but it said, "If you abide in me, and I abide in you, then I can fulfill the needs of your heart." When they say abide, that means Jesus is in you, you're in Jesus, and then you get all your needs met. So it's not just hey, I want a new car. No, you need transportation. So if you're abiding in Jesus and Jesus is abiding in you, and the need comes that you need a car, that so when people say that, I'm like, no, 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 no. You gotta, I mean, Jesus got to be with you. He gonna tell you what to do, but he gonna tell you what to do. Like, what do you mean? If he tell you gotta walk, you gotta walk.
mhm,
If you, I mean, I've been without a car before, and I didn't like it. But hey, it was the only transportation that I had, and I didn't want to take a bus, so I guess I'm walking. I guess I'm getting on a bike. I guess I had to go and cough it up and ask for help. I mean, there's many stories about that happening. Many stories about that happening,
mhm.
and the biblical stories are also wonderful. But the practical stories of what happened today, there's many people who had to start with just faith, just faith. They had to start. I'm one of those people. I got given a vision and I had to walk it out. It's not easy. Just be like, oh, I got the best idea ever. I'm gonna start a company and the company gonna just be flourishing. It's gonna be successful. Yeah, I know, good words, right? But it takes work to do that. It takes work. And in the midst of the work, I had to learn, and then I had to continuously learn, and I had to improve on what I knew, and I had to become a grinder because I had to do all of these small steps.
Well, that's what we talked about in this season that we are in with the church when we talk about the whole idea, and we have not unpacked it yet. We've been kind of scratching on the surface. Minister Simone dealt a little bit with it last week, but the whole idea of align and activate, because aligning means that I have to align with God's word. I have to align with God's will. I got to align myself with his way, and so I can't do it my way and then hold God accountable because it didn't come to pass. I have to line up with him. I can't be disrespecting my wife when he tells me I should be loving my wife,
Yeah.
and then expect him to show up. I can't not be tithing and then expecting windows of heaven to open. I can't not be giving and then expect for people to give to me. I can't violate the principles of the word and then expect to get the benefits of the word. I have to align myself with the word. And then the whole activate thing, a lot of times people, they don't activate. When it comes to activating, we're talking about serving. When it comes to activating, we're talking about sowing. And when it comes to activating, we're talking about the whole idea of seeking. And I think that's the part that we're missing. And that's what I've been kind of really talking about tonight when it comes to actually putting in the work. you know,
Yes.
Seeking is not me, when we were looking for our house, it was not me sitting at home talking about, Lord, I need a house. It was me driving up and down neighborhoods. It was me, looking through the paper. Nowadays they got the internet, but then looking through the paper, it was me doing the research, and so that's important. Listen to what Proverbs said, and then let's go use our last time we got and talk and finish up at least the acceleration part. But listen to what he says in Proverbs 21:5. He says, the plans of the diligent lead to profit as surely as haste leads to poverty. So the Bible is very clear. You got profit or poverty. And he says, when it comes to profit, you ain't gonna be able to, you gotta take time and plan this thing out. You have to look at these different things. But when it comes to poverty, if you want poverty, then okay, go ahead and binge watch, you know. And I'll drop the mic on that when we're talking about acceleration, but it all fits into acceleration, you know.
Yeah.
It all fits into acceleration. It's the backbone of acceleration. So let's go ahead and finish up acceleration so you'll be able to sleep tonight.
Yes. Okay. Okay. So this is okay. So we're gonna go through this fairly quickly. So I hope you're taking notes. Ready? Okay. Now, everything that was acceleration that we've been talking about. So if you look at all the weeks past, everything is what we talked about. How do I present? Nope, I don't. So let me see if I got no, it's ready. Okay. I want to make sure I got everything for you. Okay, so acceleration, we're talking about just accelerating your living expense. So everything starts off with that. The formula, 10, 10, 40, 20, 10, and 5, 5. Now remember, the last 5 is for sanity. So if you're going to watch an episode, you plan to watch an episode. You may plan to watch 2 episodes. However, you're cultivating all of your time or most of your time into doing what God has called you to do. So you're working 8, you got the kids, you get done, you feed the dog, you do what you got to do. And when you got that excess amount of time, you're working, you're grinding out. If you got to watch TV on the weekend, or you can watch one TV show on the weekend or 2, and you're grinding out the rest of the way, remember, it's okay to have some sanity, but your time should be well spent on pushing yourself ahead. That will make you be a better grinder, and it will accelerate you.
Because we want to add, not forget the whole focus point where we're going is financial freedom.
Yeah.
And so for financial freedom, that's your target. You know what I mean? And so they said if your why is not big enough, you're not going to do it. And so, you got to, you got to have a good why. And here, let me throw another one since you paused. I'll never say his name right. Robert Kiyosaki, or what's his name?
Kiyosaki. Robert Kiyosaki.
He says financial freedom is available to those who learn about it and work for it. And that's what we're talking about. We're teaching you. That's one part, but you got to do the work. Yeah. Come on.
Okay. Moving beyond that, we talked about the how to accelerate and what the plan is. The plan is to get us out of debt or to greatly reduce our debt, because by doing that, we now become lenders and not borrowers, which we all need to strive for. Remember, like all things, I believe you could do it. Now let's get into it. Okay. First things first is cutting unnecessary expenses and networking effectively. If you can get these 2 down, these are the first 2 steps, followed by enhancing your skills. That means taking what you already do and making that better. The first find your income is taking income and then separating it so you're not putting all your eggs in one basket. So you can have multiple streams of income. This is just the beginning steps of that. Investing wisely, whether it's you, yourself, or someone else. You always want to invest in yourself. You want to increase your value. Increasing your value is different from enhancing your skill. It is making sure you're more well-rounded and you got the right mindset to do what you got to do. Leveraging technology is one of my favorites. It's how I could be in multiple places at the same time. That's the use of technology in order to not only make you profitable, but to also make you more active. And the last one, we got to the last one. Okay. The last one is entrepreneurship, continuous education, and tax efficiency. So we don't have a lot of time, so I can't go into all of them, but these are the cream of the crop, so to speak. If everyone is doing what they're supposed to do and you've reached that goal or you have that goal, entrepreneurship doesn't take a lot. I think Pastor Burnham said this quote better than I do. You don't have to be great to start, but you do have to start in order to be great.
Yeah.
And that's entrepreneurship. You do have to start entrepreneurship in order to better accelerate your passive income. If you want to become a full blown entrepreneur, I'm your brother, James Jones. I'll help you. I got a lot of stuff on my plate, but helping other people become financially independent, just let me know. We'll work out all the details. Continuous learning. I can't talk enough about this. If you increase your value, you're continuous learning. If you're networking effectively, if you're cutting all your unnecessary expenses and you're enhancing your own, if you're enhancing your value and you are investing wisely, you are doing what I would like you to do is continuous learning. Right now, I am in the process of reading about 2 or 3 books, and that's instead of me binge watching TV, I'm typically reading books. I do. It's one show that I do like, and I probably watch 1, maybe 2 episodes of that. But I am more keen on reading books and getting to that level, so I can be more effective with my time. The last one is tax efficiency. The reason why I do want you to be an entrepreneur versus being a person who goes to work every day is for tax advantages. In this country, we have a lot of tax advantages for business owners, a lot more. When I say a lot more, you have no idea how many more advantages you have as a tax. You have a lot more advantages being more professional, being more focused, being more skilled at tax efficiency. So I can't dive into it right now. But if you was a business owner or you started your own company or your own business, there are more tax advantages out there for you. Pastor, I have to get it all out so I can hold on. Guys, also to all my grinders out there and hello to everyone else. I wish the best. Everybody take notes. That's the biggest thing. Everybody take notes. So yes.
Yeah, no, it's time to cross the line.
Yeah.
It's time to cross the line. It's time to start putting some things into action. And so if you've been a part of Financial Fridays for any length of time and you have not made any major moves, then I would suggest you begin to inventory, what it is that you need to do. Now, I don't think I have a book, but my book, the one that, yeah, I don't have one right here. Or do I? Nope, I don't have one. Close. Well, nope, that's a different one. Nope, that's different. I don't have one close by, but the one,
This book?
Possibilities.
Oh,
that book would help you to kind of zero in on what you need to be doing. You know what I mean? Because some of it you just got to flush it out of your mind. It's within you, but you're gonna have to flush it out so that you'll know what it is you should be doing. And a vision is not a vision until you write it down. And a plan is not a plan until you write it down. And so you can't just have it in your head. Then in some cases it's not a vision, it's a dream. You know what I mean? And so you got to take time to flush it out so you can know what it is that you're, wanting to accomplish or where you want to be in the next 6 months. At the beginning of the year, we want to spend next year working on our first or second or third, wherever you are on that scale, on becoming a part of the $100,000 club, 6-figure club, and so you're not going to be able to do that if you don't get these basic. This has been basic training, and so a lot of these things are basic things, saving your money and then targeting a CD or money market account, beginning to look at investing in different stocks, making those small adjustments. We talked about ways to save money, and so you have been equipped with a lot of information that if you put it in place, you will begin to see some results. And I know it to be true because I've been putting some of those this information into place in my own life, and I have seen some serious results, and my habits changed. Where I used to, would just go spend some money. I don't do that now. Now I'm more intentional about what I spend it on. I'm not cheap, you know, but I'm practicing being a better steward over what I have. And so I'm saying to you, if you really are serious about having financial freedom, you have to begin to walk some of these things out. And it may seem scary, and sometimes it's going to go against your logic, because, you know, a lot of times the problem is more that we have to unlearn some things than it is learn some new things. You know, sometimes I think it's things that we grew up doing that have become habitual for us, and or things that our family grew up doing. You might be third or fourth generation, broke. You know what I mean? And it's time to break that cycle. It's time to break that cycle, And so it might be letting go of some of the traditional things that you normally think or do and beginning to try something different. I don't know how true it is, but they say if you do the same thing over and over and expect different results, they call that insanity. But I do know if you keep doing the same thing over and over again, you are going to get the same results. I do know that. And so we want to see you prosper. We want to see you enjoy financial freedom. You know, I have some great plans for my 2025 year, and I have a list that I've created of, different things I would like to have, and some places I like to go. And I told my wife the other day that this is going to be the last time that she was going to have to be concerned about, what's over here and what's over there in order to be able to pay something. We're going to live a financial free life. And, if something need to be paid, we just going to be able to go pay it. You know what I mean? And we're not talking about consolidating bills. We're talking about consolidating bills in the pile and paying them all off.
Yeah.
We're not talking about consolidate them and then going to get a loan for them. And so I'm serious about it. And I believe with those small steps, you can enjoy a life of financial freedom as well, but you're going to have to do the work.
Yeah.
Am I fussing?
No, you're not fussing.
All right. I see Lady B in the chat. She say hallelujah. All she said all caps. So she's saying that loud.
she is definitely in agreement, but I think there's a lot of people out there that's in agreement. I got one of my guys who just hit me up like, dude, we're gonna do this boot camp for money, and I was like, bruh, give me some time. I'll be out there.
Yeah.
So then, I think once more people start catching on that, once more people start catching on that they can do it, I think that's the biggest thing, is that no matter where you live, no matter what you think you're doing, if you just believe first, and then you catch it. It's more like a disease. You got to catch the vision. You got to catch what God has put inside your life. You got to catch what God is showing you in your dreams. Like, dude, you got to catch this thing. And once you catch it and you start believing, things start putting themselves in place.
Yeah.
And I think, and I really do believe that's the best way to do it, is you're doing something natural. It's not James told me, Pastor told me, they telling me. Like, dude, I want you to catch it. I want you to know that it's for you, not to be going paycheck to paycheck. It's for you. Now, I'm not saying you won't have seasons. I have seasons, and I've been doing this for a long time. Everybody has seasons of ups and downs, but that's not the normal. My seasons are always seasons, but for the most part, I'm always moving. I got ups, I got downs, like everybody else. Is just money isn't always, money is mostly not the thing that has me do things. It's just, does it fit my plan? Does it fit the program?
Yeah.
And I think that's the way that once we start living to that level, a lot more things fall off. Because if I want my kids to go to a private school and that private school costs 5 figures, well, guess what? Well, how do we hit that? Oh, cool. Then we start assigning stuff out. So that means, hey, yeah, we may not go to Paris next year. Why? Because I got 2 people in high school, and I got to make sure these suckers go to high school. Not suckers. I got to make sure my children is well taken care of when they go into high school. And we still got to look at all the events that they may want to do, and all the stuff we got to go through, and all the equipment that we got to buy. Right? All these things play a part. But I'm looking ahead to see those things. And I think once we get that mindset of just looking ahead and make it a continuous, and once it becomes something that that's organic, I think that's the best word. It becomes organic. It's not Pastor Burns telling you to do this. It's not Brother James telling you to do this. It's organically you're looking ahead, and you're like, well, 30 days out, this is what it looks like. 60, yeah, 90, yeah, 2 years. It's not permanent, but I can picture what targets I need to hit. And then that's when you start, once it becomes organic, it becomes a lot smoother to do and to listen, and you'll go from there.
Yeah, that's why, in Ecclesiastes 9 and verse 10, it said, whatever your hand finds to do, do it with all your might. Yeah. And so that's why that's important. And even with what you're just saying now, you just described the downside of it, which is still high up. You saying you may not go to Paris, and because you want to make sure your kids is able to do this, and that, and that's the low point. Go to Paris and still do all of them things too. And then when you say, everybody has downside, yeah, but your downside is not rock bottom.
No.
And so I'm saying that even on your worst time, it's still better than some of your best times when it was rock bottom. And so, not to be able to use that as a cop out to say, well, we all have bad time. No, you whatever you find your hands to do, you do it with all your might. And the most important thing he said was you got to catch it.
Yeah.
You got to have that conviction. You got to catch it. And once you latch hold to it, and you feel like that's your conviction, can't nothing stop you.
Yeah.
Can't nothing stop you. I don't care who in the White House or the dog house, the black house. ain't nothing gonna stop you. It don't matter if it's inflation, downflation, outflation. It ain't nothing gonna be able to stop you.
You are correct.
When people losing money, you will be making money.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you'll be set up.
I'm fired up now. I'm ready to.
It is. I didn't even think about my downside. May look good to somebody else.
Yeah, and that's why it's important to keep on striving. That's all I was saying. That even your downside get better. Oh man, we almost out of time. Listen, thank y'all for tuning in to another Financial Friday. We are out of time, and we're gonna look forward to seeing you on next week. James, closing remarks.
Y'all can do this. Trust me, I believe in you.
That's right. You can do this. I need to throw a mantra up there right quick. You can do this. Let me grab me one. Let me grab one. Yeah, here, I'm gonna give you this right here. All right, and then we're gonna be out of here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here it come. I got.
So to all my grinders, you got this,
and
I'm here to help. So,
all right, there your mantra. I'm constantly growing, learning, and diversifying my skills to align with God's purpose for my life. God bless you. We out. Peace.